So, if you're a financial professional, you know that an audit is a really high-stakes game. I mean, your name, your reputation, your client's entire future, it's all on the line. But what happens when the very foundation you're building on is, well, basically sand? Let's dive into the one question that can make it all fall apart. Right? This is the question that probably keeps a lot of CPAs and CFOs up at night. Because think about it, an analysis that's based on partial information isn't just a little bit unhelpful. It can be an absolute catastrophe. And it leads directly to something we call the CPA's nightmare. And this isn't some abstract idea. Let's actually walk through a scenario that, believe me, happens way too often. It's a story about professional risk, missing data, and the truly devastating fallout of not knowing what you don't know. And just like that, a totally standard audit blows up into a lawsuit. The CPA did their job, right? They used the data they were given, but a critical piece of the puzzle, the inventory logs, was missing. Now the client's business is gone, and the CPA is stuck in a legal nightmare. So how does this even happen? Well, the thing is, this nightmare scenario isn't just a case of bad luck. It's a systemic failure. It happens because the standard tools that most financial pros rely on are, to put it bluntly, fundamentally broken when they have to deal with incomplete information. I mean, just look at this comparison. Most software out there, when it hits a data gap, it does one of three things. It crashes, it just makes up numbers to fill the space, or it gives you some super vague warning that's basically useless. FIP, on the other hand, is built completely differently. It's actually designed to measure that uncertainty and turn it into an asset. And that really gets to the core of what FIP is all about. It's about transforming that uncertainty from a huge liability, the kind that gets you sued, into an intelligence asset that actually protects you and gives you real, honest-to-goodness clarity. So instead of trying to hide or just guess about those data gaps, FIP puts them right up front and center. It works on this principle of radical transparency. It tells you precisely how certain its conclusions are based on the data it actually has. This whole concept has a name. It's called partial data intelligence. And this right here is the game changer. Partial data intelligence means you're not flying blind anymore. The system takes all that ambiguity and turns it into a measurable insight. So how on earth does it actually pull this off? Well, FIP makes good on this promise with a few really specific, really powerful features. Let's take a quick look at how they all work together to keep you protected. Okay, so first up, you get something called a verdict stability score. Now, a score like 78% doesn't just say, hey, there's a problem. No. It tells you, look, this audit is solid when it comes to liquidity, but it's way weaker on the operations side. You really shouldn't make any big staffing decisions until you get that missing payroll data. See, it's specific, it's quantifiable. But wait, it gets better. FIP doesn't just point out the problem, it gives you the solution. The data coverage playbook generates the exact request you need to send your client. You literally just copy and paste that into an email, send it off, and boom, that data gap starts getting closed. So once FIP has done its thing, analyzed all the data, complete or not, what do you actually get? Well, it all builds up to this incredibly powerful, crystal clear verdict that leaves absolutely no room for misinterpretation. You're not getting some vague, jargon-filled report. You're getting this, a direct, unmistakable warning. FIP speaks in plain English because it needs to communicate just how serious the situation is. There is zero ambiguity here. And it backs that warning up with cold, hard data. Take the forensic risk horizon, for example. It shows an estimated survival of just 1 month. It uses predictive modeling based on the company's cash velocity to show the client exactly how close to the edge they really are. This is the kind of insight that forces people to act, like now. The report then breaks down all the core issues. So for each critical metric, like net burn rate, it diagnoses the systemic problem, and it gives it a name you can't ignore, like systemic hemorrhage. And then it prescribes the exact action needed, like freeze non-essential hiring. It's a perfect loop. Here's the measurement, here's the problem, and here's what you do about it. And to make absolutely sure the message gets through to business owners who might not be financial wizards, the report uses these powerful, easy-to-grasp analogies. Comparing a major liquidity issue to cracks in your house foundation makes the danger feel immediate and real to absolutely anyone. But let's be real. A powerful verdict means nothing if you can't trust the data behind it. And this is where FIP's sovereign-grade engine comes into play. It's designed for one thing: absolute trust and integrity. At the very heart of this is the sovereign hash chain. The easiest way to think about it is like a digital fingerprint for your data. Every single audit is cryptographically linked to the one before it, creating this unchangeable, tamper-evident chain of custody. You can prove, without a shadow of a doubt, the entire history and integrity of the analysis. Now, the second pillar of this engine is the Founder Attestation Protocol. And folks, this is a total game changer for accountability. It requires the client, the founder, the CEO, to digitally sign off on the data they submitted, formally attesting that it's accurate and complete. And this isn't just checking a box. It's a cryptographically verified seal. This creates a super clear line of responsibility. The analyst handles the analysis, and the founder is now formally on the hook for the data itself. So, when you put all of this together, the partial data intelligence, the super clear verdicts, and that sovereign-grade engine, what you get is more than just another tool. What you get is a completely new professional standard of care. And getting access to this new standard is incredibly simple. FIPTOM is not some complex piece of software you have to spend weeks learning. It's a service. You just submit your client's data, and in 48 hours, you get back a full forensic report. You can even white label it with your own brand. It's designed to be a totally seamless extension of your practice, all for a wholesale price of $9.50 per audit. At the end of the day, VIP isn't about giving you more charts or graphs. It's about fundamentally changing the nature of professional risk. This is liability protection, plain and simple, backed by data you can quantify, integrity you can prove, and accountability you can share. Which really just leaves us with one final thought. In a world that's filled with incomplete data and some seriously high-stakes consequences, it's worth taking a hard look at your own process and asking yourself, is it truly protecting me, or is it silently exposing me to the next nightmare scenario?